Hey guys, we're so glad you're joining us. This is our Soul Care Live weekly, I don't know what we call it, weekly reflection, I think is what we call it. And over the last, I don't know, 8 or so weeks, we've been checking in at the end of a week, providing some space to reflect and think about the week prior, maybe express some gratitude and engage in a topic or a spiritual practice or a variety of different things. Last week we had Sean Smucker, who is this is the first time I'm showing you the real book, but Sean helped me get this amazing book out the door. It'll be coming in September 10th. But look who's here today. This is Dave Zimmerman.
Hi, everybody.
Dave is the publisher at NavPress. So this is NavPress. They partnered with us, with me, and to help get this message out. Very, very fun. But today we're going to be joined live, and we're in the Dream Shed right now. You might have heard me talk about this before, but we're at Whisper Ranch, and you were here today just for a day of retreat for yourself. How was it?
It was great. Yeah, you opened the door to me, and we've talked about this, I think, since you got the property, and I've been reluctant, or I don't know why, having now done it. It took me so long to say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But it was just a lovely day, and really needed time.
Yeah,
so thanks
good.
for
Yeah.
unlocking the door.
Oh, well, it's been open the whole time.
Yeah.
You'll be back.
Yeah.
And your team. So anyway, guys, this is where we're at. You can see if I lean differently, the light, you'll see the mountains in the background. It's beautiful. We're here in Boulder, Colorado. And Dave and his family, wife live down in Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs,
and
yeah.
a couple cats that
Keep
us posted on Instagram with you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
With
Follow me on Instagram.
You definitely want to follow
Yeah.
Dave on Instagram to keep up with his precious, what's its names? Names?
So Jude and Jojo, both named after lyrics from the Beatles. So
Lovely.
yeah,
It's good to have a theme like that.
yeah, you gotta have a theme.
It's a good point. Okay, so today, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you're joining us live, and I don't know, even if you catch us later, we'd love for you to say your name in the chat, and we'll have a way of seeing it here. And then maybe a little bit about where you're joining us from. We've had people coming in from New York City. We've had people joining us from the middle parts of the U.S., Kansas City, and it's been really fun. A couple of people from LA, if I'm not mistaken, last week. So it's just fun. It's fun to see where people are joining us from. And then we had some folks in London. It's just been sweet. Yeah. So we love our global community. We'd love to welcome you into that. And today we are I'm going to kind of be more interviewing Dave a little bit along the way. Hope you don't mind. I snatched him.
Interview.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Be prepared.
Yeah.
As promised, what we're going to start with, though, is a moment to reflect and think about the week. Part of the reason we do this, and our team has done this for years, this was a pattern when I was at Glue, and then our team over the years as an entirely virtual team, as you know, pausing on a Friday afternoon to do weekly wins, sometimes with a beverage of choice. Today, it's, my Starbucks, but... and to which I didn't offer you anything. Sorry.
Beverage of
you
choice.
came equipped. Good, well done. But yeah, we loved to circle up at the end of a week, even in digital spaces, and have a time to intentionally reflect on the prior week. And maybe even remember, was there a significant conversation that had happened, or was there a breakthrough on a project that was going on, or was there, an answer to prayer, something that had been really heavy on a team member's heart. And so we've used it just as space to celebrate and to pause. Because I think if you don't, it's so easy to just I don't know, we just blur through one day, and then it's the next day, and then it's the next day, and then it's the weekend, and then it's the next day, and you just haven't paused to reflect. And reflection is such an important part of the spiritual life, of cultivating gratitude and appreciation and that kind of stuff. So anybody that wants to join in and toss a reflection or a gratitude or something about your own week, we welcome you to do that. But I gave you less than 30 seconds to think about it. But anything come to mind as you've had your week?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, I think t- today was today was a win, um,
Good.
and just the pace of life doesn't allow for a day like this very often. But I think the thing that I was kind of anxious about uh, at the end of last week going into this week is uh, I was with my parents last week. Um, this is I don't know. It's a small thing, but it's a big thing. Their landline at their house wasn't working, and my dad couldn't figure it out. My mom couldn't figure it out. My dad has a cell phone. My mom doesn't, and my dad goes on long walks and volunteers at a park. So my mom is stuck at home, and we had no way to contact her. She had no way to contact anyone. And I was there last week, and we looked at it, and I don't know how to fix things. so
You do other
so
things.
I spell good. I'm a good speller. But we set up we hoped that we had successfully set up an appointment for a technician to come out. And last night, in the morning yesterday, my brother and sister were both texting me that they couldn't get hold of either of my parents. And
That's hard.
my mom emailed that they hadn't heard from the technician. But at the end of the day yesterday, uh, um, we were able to talk to my parents on their landline, and so now we have a way of getting hold of my mom if we need to. So that was a win, and it took a real load off after like a
Yeah.
pretty long period of some anxiousness.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good.
yeah,
That's a good win.
yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
win. If anybody else has a win, go ahead and share it. I had for my win, I'll share. I had two really significant meetings. One at lunch today, and one at the end of the day yesterday, with people who have been mentors, advisors, really strong advocates for me personally, and for the message of soul care, the message of this new book, and the this sort of new season of my life. But I was also coming to them with a couple strategic questions, like how do you see this, how do you see that? And I really came away from, especially both conversations were encouraging, and I can't wait to bring back to the team the things that I got as good questions to consider and possibly pivot a little or redirect effort. But what a blessing to have people in your life that care enough to like say truth and give you encouragement if you need it, but also like, hey, what about this? But one of them couldn't affirm enough one of the key partnerships that we've got going on right now with the ECFA and their whole forthcoming leadership standard, and which I'm just so excited about. And when he understood what they are getting ready to do and the impact that will have in the body of Christ, he was like, that is huge. Keep, which I already have a longer term commitment with them to keep that moving forward. But it was such an encouragement.
Yeah.
Such an encouragement. So I guess the broader encouragement isn't so much what they did or didn't say, but the gratitude I feel right now is that there are people like that in my life who will speak truth, and who are wise and willing and thoughtful and just crazy smart too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I want to talk to you about some of your journey and how you've gone from I don't fix things and I'm a good speller to
Thank you for reminding everybody.
to like, first, maybe can you explain what a publisher is?
Yeah.
So that everybody knows what it means when they see NavPress at the back of this book or any other book or any published book.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, yeah, actually the process of publishing a book can take anywhere from 18 months to 3 years or longer. It's a really curative process, and it involves enormous amounts of complexity. I was reading some notes from my last year this morning, and my boss, who's outside of publishing, we're a publishing division of a larger organization, and he's tried unsuccessfully to wrap his brain around the absurdity of the publishing industry.
Pause for NavPress is for the Navigators. So the Ministry of the Navigators, which maybe you didn't want to say that, but
no, that's okay.
I think it's good for everybody to know. It's like, this is we all know, or many of us may know of, if you don't, you could look them up, but the Ministry of the Navigators is a global ministry, highly focused on the Great Commission, both on evangelism and discipleship and creative new spaces. They were some of the front runners into like the emerging church and things like that decades ago. And have been in existence for 60 some years, 70?
The Navigators are 90, and NavPress 2025 will be our 50th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
We'll have a party.
Oh, good. I want to come to your party. Well, you can have your party out here.
Oh, we'll have our party here.
Anyway.
Yeah. So my publishing is a complexity. It's a curative process editorially, but there's also kind of helping an idea meet its audience. It's and especially Christian discipleship publishing. It's a pretty audacious undertaking, right? We have transformation as kind of the intended outcome of what we publish. So
what does success look like? The metrics start to get
So a publisher facilitates all that, and of course in this era, people can self-publish really handily. And there are good reasons to do that, but to companion an author and to make the load lighter and to find the right tributaries to the intended audience and to help with the discoverability, all the aspects of publishing that make an author feel more alone and more lost. We try to kind of companion around that. So that's kind of what we do.
So the publisher runs everything from acquisition through to management of a backlist and what are we promoting and where and
the publisher is kind of the pivot point, right? So all the different functions of the publishing program coalesce. They all intersect. They all have their own kind of life and priorities, and so a person in my role tries to sort of bring integrity and coherence to all of that, and also to protect. I think the big part of my work increasingly is protecting the integrity of the brand, interpreting the implications of the brand for the moment, that sort of thing. So that's kind of
and that has been a passion of yours since stepping into this seat. If I recall.
That was I was prior to being the publisher, I was an acquisitions editor, so I would work project by project, author by author, and that was very fulfilling. But I was intrigued by what holds it all together, and I felt increasingly like that would be both personally fulfilling and I could bring helpful perspective to that. So,
for sure. And I actually, what a beautiful metaphor, talking about your leadership role as the pivot point between all the varying important processes. Your team, they don't just call you the big kahuna?
One of them does, but I don't like it. It's weird.
I heard one of them say that once.
One of them calls me Master High Commander of all books or something like that. And I'm like, do I work with nerds? I think I work with nerds.
Oh, yes, and we are one. Nerds are us. That's great. I love it. Okay, so that's what I noticed about your leadership, is that you see yourself in a servant role. And they would only make fun of you by saying things like that if they knew that the heart with which you bring that leadership. What would you say has shaped your view of leadership?
Yeah, well, I think part of it is, there's positional
Right.
influence, and there's cultural influence. And to be, I didn't have any supervisory responsibilities until 4 years ago.
In your
And
whole career
well, I would
at Nav.
I would supervise interns for like 10 weeks. So
Okay, it doesn't
yeah,
quite count.
basically, if they don't die, it's a win, right? But yeah, so I think that's part of it. Editors are observers,
Hmm.
uh, and um, and we're companions, like I said. So I think my relational posture, uh, that's kind of it's incidental, I think, to the work
Hmm.
that I do. It's also kind of related to the
Seems more
family
like
that
a
I grew up in.
pathway to the work you do in
Yeah,
a way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I think, um, I was very fortunate that I inherited my role and the team that came with it. So we
Hmm.
had built a high level of trust. It's a weird thing to suddenly be reporting to someone that you
Hmm.
were
A peer
sitting
with.
next to.
Yeah.
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 So I was very fortunate that we had a team that trusted one another,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's been
you know,
fun getting to know your team.
yeah,
The few
they're a
that, I
fun group.
mean, I've known probably two or three of them pretty well.
Hmm.
Caitlin, who was the main editor, the acquisitions editor
Yeah,
for me, but you were involved in that whole process. She was, I mean, she just
yeah,
provided such thoughtful feedback
yeah,
on making this content better.
yeah,
And
yeah. Caitlin's a true talent.
yeah, she,
Yeah.
what a gift. What a gift.
Hmm.
Um, Along the way, that's how your leadership,
Yeah.
going from leading interns, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Please don't die on my
None of them
watch.
died. I would like credit for that.
um, and now stepping into this seat, but I can
Yeah.
see your point that your editorial sort of posture
Yeah.
as an observer, as a relator, sort of informs your leadership. But
Yeah.
along the way, you've become passionate about the spiritual formation topic.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Yeah. Well, so a lot of it is where I worked before NavPress, was deeply invested in spiritual formation as a neglected aspect of discipleship,
Mm-hmm.
and seemed like everywhere I turned, every third person at that publishing house was a spiritual director. And my background is more my background and interests tended more toward activists,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like community organization, that sort of thing. And there has been this distance between those two communities that less so today than
Correct.
when I
10,
was
15
coming up.
years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the formation community was really focused on the interior life. The activism community is obviously focused on social spaces, and they didn't cross streams very often. But I'm in this environment where the dominant idea is the interior life, and so I'm sort of confronted with that disconnect on a regular basis. And
Mm-hmm.
so the idea of bringing bringing the interior life into community, and bringing life in the spirit down to earth.
With a missional
Yeah,
impact in
with a
mind.
direction to it.
Yep.
That's really meaningful to me. And then I think the Navigators have historically, approached discipleship um, as a coming together of discipling the intellect, so knowing the scriptures, memorizing the scriptures, um, forming your mind, and habits, right, like lifestyle. So forming your habits, and I think forming your spirit has been kind of in the space between those. So I think for NavPress, sort of helping our parent organization and the constituencies in their care to like find the space, enter the space between those two priorities. I think that's been a helpful way for me to kind of make sense.
I think the mental model of how you're bringing that passion for the reality of the interior.
Yeah.
But into and that's actually, it's I don't know if I've ever heard you exactly say it
Yeah,
that way.
I
that was a surprise answer. I love it.
I never know what I'm saying when I start talking.
Well, welcome to that's how that sentence goes. But I do think it doesn't surprise me to hear that because I think that's why you and I have always had such alignment around formation as an imperative of that inner life, and frankly that's been so lost in these highly missional contexts most of the time. I call them the jet fuel drinkers, right? And there's the candle lighters and the jet fuel drinkers, and never the twain shall meet. And actually, a lot of people quickly observe, what, if you get a lot of jet fuel near a lit candle, like what? It could be bad.
Bad things happen,
or quite good. So I love hearing, the candle lighters and the jet fuel drinkers. Everybody who knows me knows about that. So,
ignite your soul, coming to a store near you.
Exactly. And so but that is the passion, is that in the midst of our doing. One senior pastor of a very large church that our team has worked with, and I've worked with a lot, he said the problem is that our doing can become our undoing.
Oh, wow. That's
know.
Good.
Those mega church pastors, they got away with words. Anyway, so our doing can become our undoing. And so that has been where I and our team almost always find ourselves, is in these conversations with highly missional, which we affirm and love. There is a lot of good work to be done in the world, and it needs to be done, but there's a lot of good work that's killing the soul of people in the middle of it. And so it's funny, as people who've known me for a long time, and you are one of them, but you had a strong hand in this whole book coming together. Somebody just sent me a text earlier today with the chapters, and she said, I'm just starting to read the first chapter that you made available, and she goes, I just looked at the table of contents, and she goes, this is your life's work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was so sweet. And anyway, so thank you. I don't know, I didn't mean to talk about this. This is supposed to be about the integration in your story, but thank you for bringing this forward, because it feels like a holy moment in our world right now, because people are exhausted, they're burnt out, they're isolated, and there is a God who can be with them. In the midst of driving mission, in the midst of unspeakably hard circumstances, and we've kind of lost that way. Right.
Yeah. I should say that we are the book publishing ministry of the Navigators, and you have been and are known as a gift to the Navigators. I remember we moved out to Colorado around the same time, and I ran into you in the hallway at the Navigators, and this was 10 years before the book, like 8 years before we started talking about the book. But you've been a gift to our organization for all the reasons that you just shared, and the book is, the Navigators are proof of concept. The book is the concept that makes the concept more transmissible. So
that's our hope. That's our hope. That's great.
Let's
see. Well, again, if anybody has any questions you want to ask me or Dave while we have him here, this is awesome that he's here, or about the book, we welcome any interaction. I think I need to open the chat thing on this thing here. I wasn't probably paying attention. Anyway, so feel free to reach out and let us know that. But you've got something else up your sleeve. What are you doing here?
It came to mind.
You gave me that.
This?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you a new one. This is an old Bible.
Oh.
It's cool looking though.
Yeah. Well, didn't you guys give that away?
Probably.
Yeah, you did. Okay, but here, look.
Seems like what I do.
This seems like what I do.
Seems like something I would do.
So the other cool thing about Navigators and NavPress specifically is you may have heard of a version of the Bible called The Message, which we use all the time at Soul Care, and a lot of other ministries do elsewhere. Eugene Peterson's paraphrase, which I'm usually careful to use that word rather than translation.
Yeah.
So I don't know, when I signed as an author
Yeah.
with you guys, you sent this as a Christmas gift, so
Oh, yeah,
thanks
yeah,
for
yeah.
remembering.
Yeah,
It's
you
a really
bet.
personal
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah. I hand
Wrapped
sew
it.
the
Yeah,
binding
thank you.
myself. Yeah.
No, but I love it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
kept it here since. So anyway,
Yeah.
you picked it up off my desk
Yeah,
right there.
well, I was just what we were talking about, that idea of kind of the space between, and I like every year since I became the publisher, I've tried to kind of identify or like connect the dots between what I think is on our horizon, or what I'm anticipating for the year ahead, and what's found in the scriptures, and this summer our fiscal year is about to start, so this has been when I've been trying to think of that, and it was this summer I just couldn't land on what it was, but today I thought, yeah, it's
Literally just today?
yeah,
Aw.
and it's First Peter, but when I was reading it this morning, I really liked. It's at the end. It's in chapter 4, but if it's okay,
Of course,
yeah.
please.
So, but all of you, leaders and followers alike, are to be down to earth with each other. For God has had it with the proud, but takes delight in just plain people. So be content with who you are, and don't put on airs. God's strong hand is on you. He'll promote you at the right time. Live carefree before God. He is most careful with you. And yeah, that the end of that passage was like really critically important to me about 5 years ago. Like it met me at a very low point. But the beginning of this passage, this idea that the essence of following Christ together, for us to follow Christ together, we are to be down to earth with each other. That just feels both freeing and convicting. And
We don't close it too soon.
Sorry,
I was going to
yeah.
ask you to read it again.
Oh yeah, I'll read
Yeah.
it again.
But finish your sentence, though. Sorry,
Yeah,
I interrupted.
it's I don't know. It speaks to that idea that we can be sort of pulled into this interior life where we're in our own heads, or set apart from each other, or we can sort of be preoccupied with things to get done, missions to accomplish, and we get pulled into abstractions so easily. And I like the idea that the life of the Spirit is a matter of, we use this phrase for a little while, down to earthiness, right? And I don't know, I just stumbled on that today. I've not noticed it in the past, but yeah. So
well, we're gonna don't go.
I'll just
keep that there.
Yeah.
We're at time.
Oh, are we really?
Yeah. Doesn't it fly by?
It really does.
It's kind of fun to just
yeah.
talk and share. So thanks for joining. Thanks for listening in whenever you are catching this in your context. But I wonder if you could just read that as we finish up.
Yeah.
And then just so you know, guys, the information about the book will be in the notes under this video, wherever you find that kind of stuff. Other smarter people than me will make sure it gets there. And we have a book club that is starting on September 1st. That's free, that you can join online. We've got over 150 people already jumping in on that, and so I mean it's still weeks away. So join in. We'll find ways to make meaningful conversations as we chapter by chapter journey through and some of the questions, and we hope it'll serve you well. So that invitation will be below this video as well. But Dave, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'd love for you to just wrap us up with this beautiful scripture.
Yeah, I'll read it again. When finding my place. But all of you, leaders and followers alike, are to be down to earth with each other. For God has had it with the proud, but takes delight in just plain people. So be content with who you are, and don't put on airs. God's strong hand is on you.
Mm.
He'll promote you at the right time. Live carefree before God. He is most careful with you.
Mm. What a beautiful way to end our week. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
me.
coming out to the land.
Yeah.
And yeah, guys, as a reminder, he is most careful with you.
Mm.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take good care. Wasn't that beautiful?
Mm.
New York? Oh, Atlanta. All right.
Mm.
Great.